so much for waiting for that second or third tier.
Anyway, I started blasting. Bang!
Ryan Poles coming out firing in free agency, signing Larry Ogunjobi. Well, not official yet, but agreeing to terms on a 3-year deal worth $40.5 million with defensive tackle Larry Ogunjobi, formerly of the Cincinnati Bengals. What's up, everybody? I'm Ivan Vargas. Welcome to another Bears Show. Before we get started, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Sports Zone Chicago on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Make sure you go ahead and download the app wherever you get your apps from. You know, I'm not blown away by it. I'm shocked because of how they were speaking, but they left a lot to the imagination. This makes sense all the way around. I feel like you definitely need that 3 technique guy in the middle of your defense to go ahead and control those the 2 gaps, but you need to go ahead and understand that Ryan Poles also said that you're going to overpay in free agency as well, and not necessarily looking for offensive playmakers. Well, I think they was alluding to offensive playmakers possibly, but I think he also was pretty much leaving it open to the defensive side of the ball as well. He covets playmakers, but he also covets playmakers not only on the offensive side, but the defensive side of the ball as well. And that's what Larry Ogunjobi is. Right now, I'm going to go ahead and play a clip. It's courtesy of the Cincinnati Bengals. It's one of I guess it's equivalent to what Tom Thayer does with the Bears when he does their breakdown. We're going to go ahead and see a quick breakdown of Larry Ogunjobi and what he meant to the Cincinnati Bengals and what he could do as a defensive player in the Chicago Bears defensive system. Here we go.
Has a knack for hitting gaps, penetrating, quarterback sacks, tackle for loss, getting the opponent off schedule. Let's take a look at Larry Ogunjobi. Here's Ogunjobi in a 3 technique, outside shoulder of the guard right here. He's going to read that it's going to be an outside zone to the right. He's going to play his gap responsibility perfectly. Swim move, you see that little over-the-top swim move? Boom. No backside cut right there, no cutback opportunity. Ogunjobi down the line of scrimmage, detonates the play. We saw him in a 3 technique on the guard. Here he is, head up on the center. Bradbury, athletic, but not very strong. Ogunjobi says, I'm just going to bench press you right back to the quarterback. No help, boom. Great play. Here's Ogunjobi lined up in the inside shoulder of the tackle. He'll line up a head up on the guard. He'll line up in the inside shoulder, outside shoulder, on the center. He'll line up anywhere in the interior of the offensive line. Right guard, left guard, doesn't matter. They line him up and down the line of scrimmage. It's not where's Waldo, it's where's Larry. On this particular play, once he reads its pass, you have it back in the backfield. Once he reads pass, watch this one-arm stab. And just going to...
And we've seen that one-arm stab from somebody who just previously left. So far, Larry Ogunjobi looks like he's able to handle his own in the middle. Let's keep going.
Bench press the lineman back to the quarterback, and here comes Tupou on the other side. Boom. Quarterback sack. 2 big linemen getting pushed to the backfield. Ogunjobi with a 1-arm bench press, big time. On this play, here's Ogunjobi just shading the guard.
Against the
you have a jet
Chicago
sweep
Bears
going on.
Earlier this season, the Bears did get the win in that game after an ugly second half for Joe Burrow. I believe it was 3 straight picks for Joe Burrow, but watch Larry Ogunjobi blow up this jet sweep from the Chicago Bears.
And here, jet sweep look, and it's going to be a little shovel pass from Andy Dalton. The guard is going to try to hook Ogunjobi because this is an outside play, so he takes way too much of an angle, and Ogunjobi backdoors it, comes right underneath. Check this out. He said,
right there, he's pointing to James Daniels, took a little wide of an angle. I think maybe Mustafa should help out a little bit, but he continues to go ahead and break it down. Larry Ogunjobi, so far, able to control both gaps, able to get pressure straight up the middle on the center, driving the center back, showing athleticism with that 1-arm stab and drive. Larry Ogunjobi, so far, I'm liking. Let's finish up this clip and keep going.
Okay, I got you hooked. Oh, yeah, I'm going to be able to get you. Nope, here comes Ogunjobi. Man, that's another tackle for loss. That's equivalent to a quarterback sack. Disruptive. Happy about being disruptive. Ogunjobi's a force. He's got size, he's got strength, he's got explosiveness. When you freeze the tape, he's the first guy to move on the snap of the football. This guy has just unbelievable reflexes. He's a real player.
that was a Lamp's look. That was courtesy of the Cincinnati Bengals. And honestly, looking at that, hearing what he said at the end, he's a disruptor in the middle, and he loves disrupt. He loves being that. Listening to what Ryan Poles and what Matt Eberflus and what they've been preaching about, they need guys who love doing their job. It's more than just playing the game. They want guys who love to do what they do, and Larry Ogunjobi loves to do what he does. Russell Webster, what's up, Russell? Great signing by this guy. This guy is a stud. Yeah, Ryan Poles, in my opinion, continues to impress me. I don't, he has to make the tough decisions, and there's still people that are holding on to, the Khalil Mack, still holding on to animosity there, questioning whether James Daniels, we're all kind of waiting to see whether James Daniels is going to walk or not. And I think that's more than likely that he goes somewhere else. So who are you looking for as far as, filling that guard spot? But as of right now, Larry Ogunjobi, I'm liking the way he looks. He got hurt in the wild card game, played every game for the Cincinnati Bengals, 49 combined tackles, 7 sacks. I believe he had like 20 plus, 29 plus. Maybe, I don't think it was over 30. I think it was in the high 20s in quarterback pressures. Unfortunate that he hurt himself in that wild card game against the Raiders. He was unable to play any of the other Cincinnati Bengals postseason games, including the Super Bowl. Unfortunate for him, but Larry Ogunjobi, right off the bat, coming out of Fred, I was expecting, the Bears to wait a week and see, at least wait till after the first first weekend, and possibly, maybe Sunday you could start to hear some Bears talk. But Ryan Poles striking while it's hot, and to be honest, I like it. I like it. He's if you recognize what you want, if you see quality there, you heard in that clip how he loves to be a disruptor. If you found that, then, by God, I think this is going to be a great fit for the Chicago Bears, especially if he's motivated. A guy like this, you get hurt in the wild card game, unfortunate. Then you have to sit on the bench and watch. And, Ryan Poles spoke on motivation. He talked about finding guys in free agency that are motivated by something. First of all, that love doing their job. You heard that from that clip. Then they are motivated. What bigger motivation? And I know the money is nice, but what bigger motivation for a guy who loves to do his job, loves to be a disruptor, loves to get dirty in the middle, and does a great job at it? What bigger motivation than missing out in the Super Bowl, not having a chance to make an impact in the biggest game? It would have been in your life. I mean, I don't know how I guess you can't look at it as the biggest game of your life, because, in my opinion, you're not in it. So it's like you don't have a factor, but you're not able to contribute in the biggest game in your sport, right? You're not able to contribute in the biggest game of your sport. What better motivation for a guy than to not only not only the money, not only to make a name for himself, a big splash for the Bears, but to be, to get back there and win and contribute and actually get over the hill this time and win. And you know what? I feel like that is a huge factor in this. Maybe a quiet one. In my opinion, I think it's huge because as a player, as a competitor, missing out on the Super Bowl, like, oh my God, like you can't. I couldn't tell you if I couldn't tell you how he feels. You know what I mean? Like that's got to be like such a heartbreaking feeling, not able to contribute in that spot. Just looking at him, looking at how this defense is kind of shaping up. They've not that they didn't need Khalil Mack. I think they have specific people. They have specific body type. They're very specific in what they want in football players, and I think that in Larry Ogunjobi, being a disruptor and being a guy that wants to be that guy and get down and get nasty and fight, that's something that's a positive for this defense. That's something that, we talked about an Akeem Hicks when he's healthy. He gets there. He's a disruptor. He loves to get nasty. Akeem, obviously, he's had his injuries. They look like they're moving on. They cut Eddie Goldman today. They released him today. So after that signing of Larry Ogunjobi, Eddie Goldman is gone. Akeem Hicks is I don't believe is going to be a factor anymore, unfortunately, with the Chicago Bears. But think about when he was healthy, and think about that presence that he was that was felt in the middle of that defense. I know it was a different different scheme or whatever, but the attitude, the mentality, and the presence and the leadership that could go very far. That could carry a defense. The them coveting playmakers, and like I said, that could have been he could have been alluding to something else. Like I said, there's playmakers on offense, there's playmakers on defense. Obviously, they went for a playmaker on defense. How much did Tom Brady's re-signing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers dictate whether they went after an offensive lineman, in particular Ryan Jensen? I mean, a lot. It has to be a lot. It had to have affected a lot. I don't think. And then you saw just a litany of just signings. It's just nonstop signings. There's people popping like Brandon Sheriff. First of all, the Jacksonville Jaguars are on a mission. And we're going to talk about that free agent wide receiver class because I don't know what to think. Like, I mean, maybe they know something that maybe they think Christian Kirk's going to break out, but I don't know. Anyway, they go ahead. They placed a franchise tag on Cam Robinson. They went ahead and signed Brandon Sheriff, formerly of the Washington Commanders. They re-signed Tyler Shatley, an offensive lineman. They signed I'm going to butcher his name, Foye Olukun, formerly of the Atlanta Falcons, linebacker. And they signed just a couple minutes ago Evan Ingram to a one-year deal. Evan Ingram, formerly of the New York Giants, tight end. Christian Kirk. Yeah, let me start with let me stick with the Bears. Looking at how they came out on defense and going after and emphasizing on playmaker, they're trying to play complementary football, right? They know they have a running game. They know they have a young quarterback who can get out and run, who could be mobile when need be. They're looking to make sure that defense can keep them in the game. Not only keep them in the game, but possibly win them a couple games with turnovers, with long returns, setting up your offense, in good field range, possibly taking one back. I think having this signing first, I think it just shows you that they're going to stick to a specific plan and they're not going to stay away from it. I think if it was I think if Tom Brady retires, I think they go after Ryan Jensen to try to shore up the middle of this offense. Or like they had mentioned also, I forgot the young man's name, is from here, Brandon Allen. Looking at Brandon Allen re-signed a 3-year deal with the Rams, so he's not going anywhere. The Rams know he's good, so it was like he wasn't going anywhere. The top couple centers, it was like you're like he said, you're gonna overpay, and what do you need? What do you need right now? I think they went ahead and got the next best thing in their opinion. I think they got the guy that they wanted. I mean, obviously, it was like a shotgun right off the bat. And I'm happy if they feel like this guy is going to contribute right away, perfect, and going to contribute as a leader and as a disruptor, and loves to do just that. Now let's go ahead and talk about this wide receiver situation because we went ahead and talked about Allen Robinson. Excuse me. We talked about Allen Robinson not deserving of $20 million plus, right? In walks Christian Kirk, who had a great year last year. I mean, he probably is poised for a big year. I wouldn't doubt that. But I'm just looking at a Christian Kirk, and I'm like, man, $20 million, $21 million, excuse me. I think it was a $72 million contract over 4 years. It could go up to $84 million depending on all the incentives and such. I did not see the guaranteed money. I apologize. Let me get to some of your comments real quick before I continue. Bear Truth. I hope that is the next signing. James Daniels guards getting paid more than center's items. Center's items seem so could be a holdup because we need a center. I mean, yeah, I could see that if James Daniels. If you do resign a James Daniels, I would like him at center, but you went ahead and re-signed Sam Mustipher. He did start last season, so I mean, get used to that. Not saying that they won't draft and I think they will draft a guard center combo lineman in the draft, somebody who could play multiple positions on the offensive line, just for that reason, to compete. Because if you can't, if you if it's Sam Mustipher and he beats out the, whoever you draft, fine. But if you draft a guy and that's what you said, you want to bring in competition, talent breeds competition. I think that's something that you need to really, really take a look into. James Daniels, what is he going to ask for? What is he gonna want? Like we said, you're gonna overpay. Like Ryan Poles said, you're gonna overpay. We all know this. Christian Kirk, way overpaid. Yeah, I had a breakout season last year. He's just not. He doesn't stand out to me like that dude. You know what I mean? He doesn't stand out to me like he's going to be this game breaker in Jacksonville. Although Jacksonville's trying to shore up this offensive line. They found a decent running back in Robinson. I'm sure they're gonna, they'll be all right there. Getting playmakers for your young quarterback. They said they're going to put him in at the slot. Let's see if they go ahead and re-sign DJ Chark. Now that you have another playmaker there, do you want to let a guy that was with you walk? I mean, has the relationship been that bad where you can't say, hey man, look at what we're doing here. Look at what we're trying to build here. Why don't you come ahead and re-sign? We're trying to reassure not only our players, but our fans and our organization. Hey, we are a team in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? We are also a team in the NFL that would like to compete, in the playoffs and said Super Bowl. But for me, now what are other guys going to come in? Because we talked about the Bears needing to go ahead and find playmakers, not only in the draft, but in free agency in particular. And Christian Kirk was a guy I'd mentioned, but I was about to give him $21 million a year, potentially $84 million a year for 4 years. I wasn't going to do it. Like, not me. I don't think anybody on here. Southside Bear, I still laugh at Washington Commanders. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. My condolences. He's not a number one, Russell. Yes. Yeah. Christian Kirk, just shocking. Now, what is Allen Robinson going to come in? They had, who was it? I know the Chiefs were looking at him, the Lions. I forgot what the other team was. Are they willing to pay $21 million to an Allen Robinson? I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, it's Allen Robinson is not a bad wide receiver. It's just thinking about the production and what he does. Like, he wasn't game changing. It wasn't changing anything. He wasn't game breaking. Allen Robinson was a consistent receiver. He was solid, but it wasn't game changing, right? He didn't go ahead and take off for 80 yards on a slant. He didn't. I mean, he went up and got him at times. There was a lot of 50-50 balls towards the end that he was getting beat on, but he wasn't that game breaking dude. I'm sorry, he wasn't that. Christian Kirk has the speed. Can he be that game breaking dude? I mean, we'll see. We'll see what he could do in Jacksonville. I'm with Russell. I think they overpaid, but that's what you do in free agency, and you needed to get playmakers around your quarterback. Let's see what Jacksonville does. They went ahead and got added another one, tight end as well. And yeah, let's see what they do. But, as far as the Bears are concerned, looking at free agent wide receivers, I'm going to go ahead and bring that up. Let's see, free agents, NFL free agents. While I bring that up, yeah, I wasn't expecting that. And now you're just thinking, is this an anomaly, or is this going to be, is this the bar? Like, did he just set the price for wide receiver? Like, is it start with Christian Kirk? Like, I don't know. I don't know if I don't know if I'm going to pay somebody out here. Maybe, I mean, unless Devontae's out there. I mean, if they can't sign Devontae, which I don't see happening, and they're going to franchise him anyway, regardless if he says he won't play. I mean, that would be the only other wide receiver I would, and I don't think the Packers will be doing anything dumb with Devontae Adams, knowing that they have Aaron Rodgers coming back. The rumors of Valdez Scantling being a guy for the Bears, and that's a guy that I would really, that's realistic for me. Valdez Scantling, familiarity with Luke Getsy, familiarity with probably the style of offense that they're going to want to run, has speed, big body. He could go up and get it as well. Not a household name, but he's young enough to be a guy that could possibly break out for you and have big time production, depending on how you use him. Now, I'm not saying it's definitely not the sexy name. You know what I mean? Definitely not the sexy name. As I'm looking at the all these signings, also J.C. Jackson. Talk about the Chargers. The Los Angeles Chargers of Anaheim, Santa Clara, whatever they are. Los Angeles Chargers signing J.C. Jackson to a 5-year deal, $82 million. Man, they are really going for it. Really going for it. First Khalil, J.C. Jackson. They had actually added a bunch of people. I thought. Let me go back to the tracker real quick. Yeah. Oh yeah. They re-signed Mike Williams. It was one more re-signing. They re-signed Mike Williams, and Mike Williams was supposed to be out here, in free agency as well. You had Michael Gallup. He re-signed with the Cowboys, 5 years, $57 million, nowhere near Christian Kirk. Like Christian Kirk and Kirk. What's up with Kirk? The name Kirk, whether it be last or first, because you got Kirk Cousins up in Minnesota just continuing to finesse the Vikings. No matter how many times he shows you he's not the guy, they continue to want him to rob them. So they just continue to shovel money into Kirk Cousins' pockets. Kirk Cousins and Christian Kirk, the Kirk brothers, they just call them the Hamburglers. I don't know. They seem to be just have the best agents in the NFL. Why doesn't everybody just sign with their agents? Because they seem to get the job done. Anyway, looking at the Bears, I think you don't have to go out and jump right away, right? You could continue. You could now start that philosophy of second tier, player and start adding more. Well, you want to add quality. You still want to add a quality player, but try to get more, value out of the money that you possess so far right now in free agency. I know you have to sign a lot of other players, but if you can, find a guy that's in your price range at wide receiver, like a Valdez Scantling, you know what I mean? It just makes more sense now. Larry Ogunjobi, guy we definitely needed. That 3 tech is something that we definitely needed, especially in Matt Eberflus's defense. But looking at wide receiver, don't think that you need to go ahead and jump. Jarvis Landry is also out there. Jarvis Landry cast off from Cleveland after that trade for Amari Cooper. There's talking about Juju Smith-Schuster. These guys are younger guys. Jarvis Landry's at 30 years old, so he'll be a vet. But depending on what he would command, you know what I mean, whatever his market value is, I don't know what would Jarvis Landry. See what his previous contract was. If this ever loads, come on now. T.Y. Hilton, maybe if he leaves. I like Zay Jones. T.Y.'s a little older. I like his, look at guys like that. Zay Jones. Look at Juju Smith-Schuster, Valdez Scantling, even a Lazard. I spoke on that earlier. I think it was on Sean and Maya in the morning a couple weeks ago. I think I talked to Sean about it. Those two guys were available. Why not those two guys? With the familiarity, and on top of that, and I'm kind of pissed off. Let me go ahead and stop with the wide receiver talk real quick, because me, I've been beating the drum for offensive line the entire time, and Lincoln Tomlinson is now a New York Jet. Unfortunately, I thought he could be that dude, similar to a disruptor, a guy that loves to play the position, that doesn't give you an inch, that keeps fighting. A guy like that, also from Chicago. I mean, that would have added on to it. He ends up going with a former familiar face, Robert Saleh, in New York to help solidify that middle for a young guy like Zach Wilson. I thought he could have done that with us, but there's other guys out there. I know, and I mentioned because of familiarity with, and I'm sorry, and I got to apologize to Chris Morgan because I think I called him Chris Hansen last week. Yeah, this is not To Catch a Predator. Chris Morgan, the offensive line coach of the Chicago Bears. Trey Turner, he coached him last season when he was with the Steelers. Trey Turner, former high round pick, played with the Panthers, been getting paid. He's kind of in a flux. Guys, he hasn't been the healthiest, but last season he did rather well. I think maybe that familiarity, you could go ahead and sign a guy like that. You have that, you already have some connection, like I'd mentioned with Chris Morgan. Maybe that's the way they go if James Daniels walks. But I'm looking for them to get younger. I still think that they're going to go ahead and try to draft a wide receiver with that 39th pick. And with their other pick from the Chargers, I think it might be defense again. I think they might go cornerback again. I feel like there's a lot of guys in this draft at offensive line that they're looking at now that I've looked at that could possibly fall to them. Good quality guys. I mean, it's for me, I'm not going to be hard, even though in my head, in my heart, I'm like, you need to go ahead and start beefing up that offensive line. Good. Happy with the defense, happy with Ogunjobi, but I can't go out with this offseason without, if I don't feel comfortable with this offensive line, it's going to really bother me moving forward. After this offseason, I really want to feel like, okay, we have young guys. I want a good mix of young guys. I want there to be a veteran added, or if you're going to bring a veteran back, James Daniels, a guy who's been a presence here, depending on whether he can lose that, if he fits their body type, if he fits the mold of what they want in a guard, in a player, period, maybe it's there. But I want a good mix of veteran leadership on that offensive line, and I want a younger presence as depth pieces. You know what I'm saying? And possibly, fighting for a position. Like I said, a position of a position that's going to be focused on for competition, competition-wise, center. Sam Mustipher doesn't have this shit sewn up. Not by any stretch. So if you go ahead and you draft, let's say you draft a couple of combo, guard, right? Center guard combo guys, right? Let's say you get lucky enough to find some guys that fall later that you like, that fit that mold. And I'm thinking about, 6'4", 6'5", about maybe like 6'3", 6'4", 6'5". The limit I feel like for the Bears is 315, and they would like you to be 310. And I kind of feel like that might be the weight limit for the Bears, 300 to about 315, about 6'3", 6'5". Guys that, guys that can still move, that are agile, but are able to go ahead and take up space and are strong enough to move bodies out of the way. I think that's kind of the approach that you should take in this upcoming draft, because you could find guys like there are guys out there like that. And a part of that, part of the talent, and like I said, talent breeds competition. Coaching is a big factor, right? Coaching is a major factor. We know that. We saw the past 4 or 5 years. Well, let me not even say that. We saw the past 3 coaching regimes and how coaching matters. At a certain point, coaching puts you over the top, right? Coaching, positioning, understanding your personnel, putting your players in position to succeed, all that puts you over the top. The players go ahead and execute it, right? And you need talent. Talent matters. You know what I'm saying? Talent matters. But at a certain point, coaching puts you over the top. Drafting offensive linemen a little later, Sean had said this before, and I believe him, and I understand it. You could go ahead and coach guys up, right? They don't have to be the number one guys or whoever. And you find offensive linemen all the time later in the draft, right? They don't necessarily need to be that number 1 or number 2 or second round pick, first round or second round pick. You can find guys later. You can find guys later in the draft. But my problem was that the Bears kind of lived off that. They really lived off that for a while. They found maybe 1 or 2 guys. It definitely had a lot of undrafted guys come in and out of Hallis Hall. But if you mix that talent with good coaching, I think that the Bears could get something going. I'm not saying next year they're going to compete for a Super Bowl. Hell, I don't know if they're going to even sniff the fucking playoffs next season. It's and I mentioned it before. You're looking for the Bears. You're looking for them to take a step forward in competition. In first and foremost, in how they're motivated, right? Are guys flying to the ball? Are guys fighting for each other? Are guys picking each other up after the play? Are guys running? Are guys finishing plays off? Are they finishing off their tackles? Are they finishing off their blocks? Things like that. Are they able to take what Matt Eberflus and Ryan Poles have been preaching and execute it on the football field? That's just the next step. I'm really excited. I can't say it enough. The next step is going to be obviously the draft. I mean, we'll continue to see what free agency holds. It's been a wild Monday, but obviously the next big step is going to be this draft and how this scouting department that Ryan Poles has praised, a scouting department that they kept intact. I don't know whether they're going to keep it intact moving forward, but a scouting department that he was, thoroughly impressed with. Sean mentioned it this morning, how impressive they were. It's going to be interesting to see how the Bears execute this first draft of Ryan Poles. He's already come out to a hot start. I mean, they've identified an issue. They identified an issue that was going to be major for them, and they went ahead and figured that out. Obviously, hopefully, they figured that out on the first day of that free agency or that legal tampering period before Wednesday's official date for free agency. But you know what? To be honest, Brian Poles, to me, and I've stated it before, it's impressive. You're impressing me so far. You were able to make the big decision with Khalil Mack. You're able to go ahead and cut ties with. And there's people. I mean, there's Bears fans, and I'm not a big Bears Twitter guy, but there's Bears fans that are out there that are just like, Ryan Poles is just doing like it was. They're giving F grades for Khalil Mack. They're pissed off about Eddie. Like it's like you guys are holding on to things that just don't exist, man. Like these guys did not win a Super Bowl, and it's been 4 years. 2018 was a long time ago. We're in another decade. Like let's move forward. This was a great signing by Ryan Poles. I'm happy for it, guys. I'm going to get out of here in 30 minutes or in less than that, in 36 minutes or 26 minutes. What's Up, Cuz will be on. They're going to have Eugene McIntosh from the Bigs talking baseball and also coach of the Kenwood Broncos, head coach of the Kenwood Broncos basketball team, Mike Irvin, is going to be there with the guys, with Lance and Jason Palmer. It's going to be a good show. Make sure you stick around to catch What's Up, Cuz. Bear Truth. Right now, I like the direction and patience Ryan Poles is showing. Got to be smart in free agency. If you're in your position, don't overpay in your scouting for the draft. Yeah, I mean, just don't. You're going to overpay a little bit, like you mentioned, but don't do something dumb. I think this position was smart. I think it was smart to go ahead and solidify that three technique with a guy that you saw the clip, loves to disrupt, loves to do what he does. That's something that the Bears said that they coveted. They went out and got it. Guys, I'm Ivan Vargas. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Sports Zone Chicago. This was not courtesy of the Cincinnati Bengals, by the way. That clip was. I had that on the whole time. Jeez. So like, share, and subscribe to Sports Zone Chicago on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Download the Sports Zone Chicago app wherever you get your apps from. I will probably be back on Friday because I feel like, the rest of the week is going to be kind of crazy. Also, I didn't even get to mention Tom Brady is coming back for his 23rd year in the NFL. I'll probably go ahead and save some of those other NFL talks, NFL signings for Friday at 7:00. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna need some water. Been talking a whole hell of a lot right now. But you've been watching another Bear Show on Sports Zone Chicago. I'll see you guys later.